Hey everyone, welcome to today's stream. I'm James with KORG. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you all around the world. Happy to be with you here today. Coming to you from KORG USA, actually. I've been in my home office for a little while, but starting to make our way every once in a while into the office here. This is the new space, and welcome to the stream. Today we have a very special stream because we have a very special announcement that we're talking about. We are partnering with Gator. We may know Gator cases, but they also have a little company called Gator Frameworks, and they're going to be doing some really, really cool studio furniture. And we are talking about the Gator Frameworks and KORG giveaway. So here's the deal. I want to make sure that we were just all on the same page with this one. And they've got this really great new set of studio furniture. And we are going to be giving away to one lucky winner in the US a Nautilus 88, which we'll also be using on the stream today, and one of their Elite Series desks that you're seeing in this really cool video. It's a really ergonomic system. They decided that they wanted to do something a little different than what was out on the market, and they really achieved that. This has got some really great ergonomic features. You can bring the top of the desk up to access panels or bring it down for more space up top where the computer goes. You've got some great wiring harnesses, lots of really, really cool stuff. So here's the desk with the Nautilus 88. Really hoping that you will all head over to the Frameworks page, and we'll put that link in the stream in the comments for you. So you can go ahead, and just enter to win. We're going to be taking entries, or Gator's going to be taking entries until May 19th. And then after that point, they will be announcing a winner, we together. But it's a really cool partnership. And, like I said, really cool desk. Check this out. You got that great wiring harness underneath. You've got that flip open top so you can make decisions on how you want that desk to work. And yes, sorry, US competition only. Got to keep it real. And then also, while we're at it, I did want to give a shout out also to one other dude who has helped us. We got Dave Bryce from Cloud Microphones, who also hooked us up with this cloud lifter for this stream and all future streams. So thank you very much, David Bryce. Really, really appreciate that. You get a little extra boost here from our microphones and a little extra gain, and we really, really appreciate them. We'll be using them on all our streams across the country from all of our specialists and myself. But today we're going to be looking at a couple of things while we're talking a little bit more about this announcement. Check my camera. What happened to my camera? My camera's not working? Come on, you got to be kidding me. What are you guys seeing? Oh, I fixed it. Yay. Great. I love it. I love it when a plan comes together. So we're here with one part of the giveaway, which is a Nautilus 88. I figured in the spirit of talking about combinations of product in the Gator Frameworks and the KORG, I would also dedicate this stream to looking a little bit at the combination mode of the Nautilus, because we've definitely covered a lot of stuff over videos, and we talked about the 9 engines, and we talked about the similarities and differences to the Kronos. And by all means, please continue to keep asking those questions, because we're happy to answer them while you're here with us. But combination mode is always a great, powerful mode in our products. As a Kronos user who's also now using Nautilus, I got to say that it's really a great mode when it comes to just stacking up sounds and making them what you need for any performance or anything in the studio. And really, in a lot of ways, the Nautilus has actually made that a little bit easier. And I'm going to take you through a little bit of that now. So I wrote this combination a little earlier today. It's pretty there. It's based off of really one of my favorite songs. It goes a little something like this. So. we have a lot of stuff going on there, and that's the point. Certainly programs can do a lot by themselves. And combinations just take you that much further. So I thought I'd dive in a little bit and show you how the combination mode works. We've got the screen here. I've also got a little blow up of the screen. I got it as sharp as I possibly could so you can see a little bit more detail there. And what I'm going to do is sort of like recreate that combination. So we're going to start by, first of all, giving you a little bit of an idea of what we have there. So you can see very clearly everything that's happening across all of your parts. So I've got my piano, I've got my bass that's split. I've got my drums on a separate channel. I got a pad that's kind of back in the piano a little bit, so that's a layer. So I'm already combining all of those concepts, split, layer, drum track, all those kinds of things. And then I have one more that I just turned on by accident that's not really doing anything right now. So to do this, it's really cool. So the first thing that you're gonna notice when you're building your own combination, which is really, really cool, you could do it a couple of different ways. First of all, the easiest way probably is just to go quick layer or quick split. You have those buttons at the bottom, and then you could just kind of do that. It will pick up another sound for you, and then you can decide whether you want to keep that sound, or you could just change it to whatever you want. You can go into the category mode, and you can start to see different things here. You can see guitars and everything else like that, basses, stuff like that. But another way of doing it is to do it from the start by yourself, and that's what we're going to do here. So when you start with a combination, you start with your basic sound, A00, which is the Nautilus Grand, which is... Some of these screens might look familiar to you if you've used a Kronos before. There's a lot of refinement here in how you turn on tracks and things like that. So first thing that's really cool is that you'll notice all these little fine pluses right here. When you want to add another part, it's really as easy as just pressing plus and it turns on another part for you. So right now you're going to hear two pianos playing together. It's going to sound like a phase, but the point is that now I could either choose to do a split or a layer with those sounds. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up that bass. Okay, so all I need to do here is I need to go into the category select, and then I'm going to find my bass. And I think that I used, what did I use? An acoustic bass, and I used, where is that bass? Acoustic bass, upright bass, double bass fingered. Let's try that. Okay, and then from here, all you have to do is you can go in and you can set where those go on the keyboard. So you have your custom splits and your custom layers. So in order to do that, you can press the page button up here. I know that's a little bit obstructed by my camera that's on the screen right now, but trust me, it's there. And then you've got a bunch of different pages that you can go to really start building. You can see there's a little bit more of a graphical element to this now. It's very, you streamlined on the screen. You get some graphics of what you're looking at there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the filter and the zones, because that's what you're looking for here, zones, right? Immediately you're brought to a page where you could filter out things like, I don't want this part to have damper pedal access. I want this part to have damper pedal, but I'm going to go to the keyboard zones. The keyboard zones are right here. So what you're seeing on the screen here is basically the range of every one of these parts that I have done. And so there's two parts on right now, and they're both playing together, right? And I don't want that. I want there to be a split. So you have a top key and a bottom key. And all you have to do is decide, for the piano, for example, which do I want to be the bottom key? Well, I think I want this one to be the bottom key. And here's a little trick. If you press enter and hit that key, it changes to that key. And then for the bass, we just want the top key right below that. So what you're doing is you're creating this split. So from C-1 all the way up through D3, you've got your bass. And then from D#3 up through G9, you have your piano. So there's that bass. It's that easy, really cool. And then from there, I could also do a layer. So let's introduce that concept. So I'll go back out here, I'll turn on another part, and I will make that part the pad. Okay, so we had that pad in there that was kind of accompanying the piano a little bit. Really fun point, as you're exploring, when you get your Nautilus, if you have your Nautilus already, if you go to user right here for the knobs, these become volumes. So immediately you could do it from the screen, or you could do it right here. And this will give you a little bit of access to mixing what you're doing there. So the pad I usually had a little bit down because I didn't want it to like overpower anything in the mix. I just wanted it to be like a nice add-on. So I'm going to go in once again to my category, and I am going to pick a pad. In that particular case, I'll look at slow synthesizers. and I will start looking at things that sound like pads. So spacious pad is the one I think I picked. That's the one. And then again, volume is very easy. Right here, or you can do it on the screen. It is a touch drag screen. So if you did want to do it like this, you certainly could. You can raise it up and down. You could raise it, you could just touch drag, which is really cool. So we've got our combination going on here. Hey, if you're just joining us, thank you for joining us today. James with KORG, and we're here with the Nautilus, and we're also here to talk about a great new contest that we have partnered with Gator on. Gator Frameworks, a new line of really, really cool studio furniture, and we're going to be doing a giveaway. So Gator Frameworks and KORG, and we are going to be giving away this really, really cool Nautilus 88 with the desk. And it's kind of a cool thing. So, you know, our buddies over at Gator wanted to work on this contest with us, and that's what it's going to look like. There's that Nautilus 88 sitting on the desk. And yeah, I mean, it's going to be really cool. The desks are great. There's a lot of ergonomics here. You can see that wiring harness on the bottom there, so you can keep all your wires off the floor or dangling from the back of your desk. Nobody likes that. I don't like that. And then also you've got some really cool stuff as far as this lid. If you look at the top, it's hinged. You can bring that back if you want more access to what's going on your keyboard, or you can bring it down if you want more space for things like your computer and so on and so forth. But we're running that competition with Gator, and you can go up to their site, and we'll put that link into the comments along the stream. And it does come in also multiple colors, which is also really great. They have like a gray, and they have this, and they really put a lot of thought into these. When you look at them and you see what they're giving you for the value, for the price, it's amazing. And we're taking entries until May 19th, and then after that, we're going to pick one lucky winner in the US that's going to get that combo of products. And in celebration of that, also, once again, thank you to Dave Bryce for the awesome cloud lifter, which we're using on the stream today. I'll stop the commercial interruptions now and get back to this. So we're talking about combinations in the Nautilus, because why not? So we're rebuilding this combination, and we're showing you a couple of the concepts that we're using to do that. It's super easy. I love showing this stuff, you know, because it really puts it into context what you can do very quickly. You know, the screen really works really well for you here. You know, this is the thing, like with the Kronos, fantastic. They're both fantastic instruments. The intention for the Nautilus is to have a much more streamlined panel. So you're looking at it, you know, that's the deal. So a lot of it moves to the screen, and there's a lot more graphics in the screen and stuff like that. So, you know, once again, we're talking about doing these, you know, kind of cool combinations. You heard that I had a drum kit in my original one. So there again, I could just turn on one more part, and now I can pick a drum. And so now I'm going to go here, and I'm going to pick that jazz kit that I was using before. It's like a jazz hip hop kit. I'm just going to go ahead and try to find that jazz low bit kit. Jazzy hip hop kit. There it is. So now here's another thing that you can do. We'll talk a little bit about polyphony management, because that's important with a workstation, right? You have, you know, a lot of polyphony here. The Nautilus does dynamically allocate polyphony to sound the best possible way. If you are making very complex combinations that have a lot of sounds on them, you can control how much polyphony each one of those parts get. And that's what's a really cool feature of both the Kronos and the Nautilus. So what I had done originally in this combination, before I get to the drums, like I was talking about, is I did choose to limit the bass to monophonic. What that allowed me to do was to play, you know, runs really quickly without worrying about stepping on what I was doing or having it sound like I was kind of making a flub. And so I did that. So in timbre parameters under oscillator, what you're seeing here is you're seeing force oscillator mode, which means that you can take one of the two main oscillators, the stereo oscillators, out of every part, and you can listen to less of the sound if you want to. And then over here, you have the portamento, and then you have the max number of notes. And this is really important. This last line right here, they're all currently set to program, which means that they'll basically play full on, or if it's a monophonic program, it'll play that way. But you can force polyphony here. So in the case of the bass, which is on my second part, I could just set that to mono, or I could just put a one note, right? So now, I still got the drums playing in there. Sorry, I got to put that on a different channel. the pad. This is the bass, the drums. Yes, that is true, Eugene. Thank you very much. So the other things that are important to note about the Nautilus, and I know that there's been a lot of questions about what the differences are between the Kronos and the Nautilus, and a lot about the similarities. So that's a good opportunity. Let's recap that really quickly here for everybody watching today. For everybody watching today, the Nautilus is essentially the engines of the Kronos. So you've got those 9 great engines, like the SGX engine that's dedicated to pianos, and the EP engine that's dedicated to electric pianos, and the CX3 from, clone wheel organs, Poly 6, MS-20, all those kinds of things. Yes, that's true. Inside Chrome 2, it's one of our things that we like to do to help you manage what you're doing, because we acknowledge that anybody who's working with this kind of a product, you're going to want to stack a lot of sounds. And, we don't want there to be any hitting the wall when you're in the middle of a production. So we give you the opportunity to manage that polyphony. So back to the Nautilus versus the, compared to the Kronos. So the engines are the same. There's new PCM and new sounds inside of the Nautilus. Those are specific to the Nautilus. Those are things like the prepared pianos, the found percussion, additional string, everything. There's a lot of different stuff in there. So additional PCM, new sounds, moving in a new direction there. The interface is obviously a little different. There's a lot more focus on the interface because there's a lot less control as far as, tactile buttons and knobs and switches. If you look at a Kronos, you'll see 9 faders here. You'll see a lot more of this. You've got karma control. You've got all these mute switches. You've got a vector control for vector synthesis and everything else like that. Here, we're decidedly sort of streamlined down, and that's what we want. We wanted something that was more focused on, here's some great sounds, here's how to work with them quickly on the screen, and that's what we're giving you with this. Again, the similarities are the processing power. The 9 engines are there. The up to 16 simultaneous effects are there. The EQ per part up to 32 parts. That's 16 MIDI and 16 audio in the sequencer. You have a full 3-band EQ with a sweepable mid per part. You have 12 insert effects, 2 master effects with sends, just like you would find on a mixer, and then you have 2 total effects, which are kind of like your finishing effects. Those are the ones that will kind of like polish off your mix. Limiters, compressors. You can really use anything there, but the point is that basically takes the whole stereo signal, and then you're running it through that as kind of like a final check to make sure everything is exactly the way you want it to sound. So that could be an EQ, and it doesn't go per part. It goes through the entire mix that you're listening to. And that's really cool. So 16 effects, pretty powerful. The dynamic polyphony allocation, the 9 engines. Here we got the dual polyphonic arpeggiator. You've got the drum part modes. It's all really, really neatly integrated, and that's what makes it cool. By the way, still the full sampling suite from the Kronos. So that is to say, everything from sampling right into the audio inputs to editing. You can slice, you can dice, you can truncate, you can change pitches, you can map to your heart's content. Sample, put it on a key or a key range. Sample again, put it on a key range. So on and so forth. You've got that capability here. It's very, very robust sampling, and then you can save that all right down onto the internal hard drive, and it's super fast. You can also use USB. So there's USB ins for your own USB drives as well. And there you go. So back to what we're doing with combinations today, because we are talking a little bit about combinations. Wanted to dive a little bit deeper into what you can do in a combination mode, and we've kind of like set up this split layer thing that we've been using. Right? We have control over the volumes. We know all that already. I already set this part to mono. Yes, exactly like the Kronos. Number of effects exactly like the Kronos. So now we're going to do that drum thing. So now we've got the drums, and we've got this cool drum section here. So you can go into the settings mode, and you can choose what happens on each one of these pads. So if you get out of here, you basically got 4 switches that will change drums in your combination. So you can have 4 different drum patterns. There's also a pretty cool step sequencer. So you can go in. If any of you have ever used Gadget, so that's our software that's got a whole bunch of gadgets in it. It's the DAW software. You can see this grid sort of looks like that. And you can create your own step sequences here, kick, snare, everything else like that. For right now, though, so we don't go all the way into that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use the pre-made drum stuff. So for this part, I'm going to use a drum track. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to choose it. So I'm going to look at 8-beat, And then I'm going to see if I could find the 8-beat that I had originally used. If not, I'll find something close. Let's see here. Was that unplugged beat? Let's see. Close enough for radio. So that was 119. Here, I can set up another sound, another drum pattern. So we'll go to 120, I guess. If you hear any like static in the background, it's, oh, Danya, good question. The Nautilus is going to start shipping in the United States from this point within about 20 to 30 days. So we're right on the cusp of it. Thank you for your patience while we're trying to get these products in, shipping and everything like that's going crazy right now and ships in the Suez Canal. But, we're getting them. They're coming. They're going to go to market very soon. So again, thanks for your patience. Check with your dealer. And these are going to be rolling out. So we're really excited about that. It's a nice timely stream. It's timely to have this contest based on the availability of the Nautilus and everything like that. So here again, so I've got this upbeat thing again, unplugged beat. I like it. So we're going to do it. So here I've got unplugged beat 1, unplugged beat 2. I'm going to latch the drums. Sounding good. One last thing that we didn't do yet are the effects. But this is kind of cool, right? And then if you get out of the setting mode, you have these really big pads that you can use to change. It's just like hitting a button. And you can see it'll wait, just like any pattern-based product, it'll wait till the end of the pattern to jump to the next one. So you don't get like stuck and you accidentally hit it too early and you're not on time anymore or anything like that. The last part of this that I think is really cool is the insert effects and the master effects and everything that I mentioned before. So right now, everything that you're listening to is straight up just the beautiful sounds that are in it. No effects have been brought over from the program mode. I mean, to put it into perspective, they're great by themselves, but then you get to kind of like put a little bit of pepper on them and a little bit of salt with the effects, right? Because that's what production is. So once again, there's a page dedicated to that. And this is the page. We're going to go right here. There's insert effects and master effects right down at the bottom. You can see me kind of pointing there. Insert effects, master effects. So I think the first thing we're going to do is we're going to set up the master effects. So we're going to go right here. We're going to see that routing. And it's very clear. Master effect 1, master effect 2. This is the total effect and the total effect. I'm not really going to use much total effect, maybe a little bit of a limiter. I mean, I think it's kind of good as it is, but you do have those and it's really this easy. You just kind of pick it and then scroll through, or if you want to see the categories, you can see the categories of stuff here. So it could be, hold on one second. Uh-oh. Is this back? Good. All right, where was I? So you can see them there. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pick a chorus for the first one. I'm going to turn it on. So I'm going to go into my chorus flanger phasers and just put a stereo chorus. And then for the second effect, I'm going to put a Hall reverb. My favorite is the O-verb. So now they're full on right now. That's just to let you know that they're on and you can hear them. You can see the returns are all the way up. So it works just like a traditional mixer where you have an aux send, which we'll get to in a moment, and then the return. The returns are full up, so you're obviously going to hear this over everything. But we're going to have control over that now. So what you do is you go into the insert effects, and here's where the magic really happens. So each part has its own routing. You can see they're all set to 127, right, for effect 1 and effect 2. That's why you're hearing them, okay, all. So like, for example, on the piano, if I set these to 0, now the reverb and the chorus are going to go away. And I'm going to do that like that. See, now it's dry. So I can control that right here, just like the effect sends on a mixer. If I want to throw in a little reverb, I got control from 0 through 127. Very nice. But what if I wanted to add an insert effect? That is an effect that is specific to a part or a group of parts. In this particular case, I will do some organ demos at the end. Thank you very much, Sebastian. I'm just going to jump through finishing this combination, and then we can listen to some sounds at your request, by all means. So Yes, we're going to go and we're going to set insert effect 1 here. We're going to set insert effect 2 here. I'm going to keep it really simple. You can start to see these routings happening at the top here. It's showing you which part is going to which effect. So it's so nicely visual. It really gives you a lot of feedback so you can see what you're doing. And then this is the drum kit mode. I'm not going to put anything on the pad, but I am going to put maybe a little bit of separate compression on the drum kit. So I'm going to set that to 3. So my idea here is that on the first sound, the piano, I'm going to put an exciter. So I'm just going to roll on through until I get to that exciter. It's pretty close to the beginning. So now it's got a little bit of a brightness on it, which I like very much. And then I can control the send here instead of on the other page. So I don't want any chorus on that, so I'm going to keep that at 0, but then I'm going to put a little bit of reverb there. And now it's getting pretty. From there, you could also do things like EQ. I'll show you the screen. I don't really feel like I need to do anything like that. Are you raising your hand, Doc Theopolis? Hi, or are you saying hi? Hi, either way, hello. How you doing? So the second sound is the bass. I'm going to turn that on. I'm going to put a compressor on that, like a nice dynamic compressor, which is going to give it a little bit more punch on the low end. So without, with. Wolf cry, force oscillator mode will enable you to force a polyphonic program sound to monophonic or vice versa. Not just monophonic or polyphonic, just to specify, you can choose the number of voices that that part will do. So let's say you know that you're only going to be playing like triple chords, so triads, and you're only going to do like 1 or 2 of them together with a damper. If you really needed to, you could set that part to 6 voices of polyphony, and it will not go beyond that, which means it opens up all the other parts to play in full. So not just quite poly and mono. Yes, that is kind of like the broad spectrum of it, but in there, you can dial in exactly how many notes you want to give to that part. Let's say, for example, you had a guitar. A guitar can't play more than 6 notes of polyphony, right? So if you really wanted to be true about it, as you were playing it, you would definitely want that some notes would die out while other notes were playing in a similar way that if you were strumming. So what you could do there is you could set that to 6 notes of polyphony, and there you have it. So how do you like that? So I put this compressor on, and then with the drums, like I said, I'm going to throw a separate compressor on. And by the way, you don't just have like these turn on and turn off things. You can go in and you can edit to your heart's content. So right here, I've got all of the things I would ever want on a compressor, right? So I've got my ratios and whether I'm, what my decibels are for my soft knee, and it kind of gives you that visual of that here. See, you can see it happening right there. You've got attack, you've got release. I don't really need to do much with it, but now that I've got that on the drums, got a nice little compression on there. And again, I can jump in and I could change how much of reverb is going to that, because it is a lot of reverb for drums. You can also use a drum kit routing, which gives each part a separate effect, which is also really cool. So like the snare could have its own EQ, the kick can have its own compressor, everything like that. What I'm going to do right now, though, is I'm just going to go into the insert effect, and I'm going to just take down that chorus and that reverb a little bit. And now I've pretty much got that combination that I did before. This is not an arranger. This is a Nautilus. Nautilus Workstation. So, Anthony, so we've got the Workstation, they do bleed over a little bit. So the big difference is between an arranger and a Workstation. The arranger will let you play the chords on the lower hand. It follows along. You could change the band. You could change the players. You can change the genre, but still be playing like the same chords, and it's all good. And then you got your fills and your variations and things like that. Here, you're building a combination from scratch. You're putting in the parts, or you can use existing ones. We do have some drum tricks here that will let you change the drum part. And that's kind of like what a arranger would do to some level, but this is a little bit more towards the, you work on this sort of like ahead of time, and then you bring it out, versus the arrangers that have everything already done as accompaniments or styles, as we call them in KORG speak. And those are like, hundreds and hundreds of different genres. You just have to play on the lower and it follows along with what you're doing. So, a little bit of bleed over, but there's definitely different intentions for each of those products, an arranger and a workstation. They're both really great technology. They're both highly musical. I would say that just as far as power goes, workstations and arrangers are like the highest processing power of any synthesizers out there, just because they have to do so much and they do it really well. So like for us, for example, like the flagship is the PA4X. And then, here the Kronos is the flagship. But then from there, you have different PA series down the line. And here you have, basically different workstations. So you've got Kronos and Nautilus, and Chrome EX is still on the line. And, of course, and Cross 2, and then, so on and so forth. So I'm just reading some of these stuff. The Polyphony and the Nautilus and Kronos is incredible. Please see following link for specifics. Thank you for sending that along. KORG, appreciate that. Well, you got the KORG product specialists and product support personnel on the line here. So thank you very much for helping out, answering those questions. Love you guys and gals. Really takes a team to do this. And we have our producer, Kareen, who's also just, pulling all the strings with the videos and everything else like that. So yeah, just big shout outs, big shout outs. So you can see, I wrote this combination and there you go. So you can do it very easily with the split or layer button, or you can really get in there and you can really do a lot of detail. I did promise that I was gonna do a couple of things. I did promise that I was gonna show the EQ. There's the EQ. As you can see, it's an EQ. So each part's got its own high, sweepable mid, and low. So if I wanted to put a little bit more bass on that piano, you can just throw some bass. More highs, take a little bit of the brightness out of the bass, bring it up. Oh, I see now the EQ is an EQ. Yes, it's a true EQ. And again, that's per part. So you can see the 16 here, but if you're in sequencer mode, you've got 16 for MIDI and you have 16 for audio. Just really, really awesome processing power here to really bring your productions and performances to life. If you're just joining us, the other thing that we're talking about here, which the link just came up, is we are talking about this great contest that we have that we're partnering with Gator Frameworks. You can see this little logo right here, Gator Frameworks. And they are doing a great giveaway for one of their new Elite Series studio desks. And we're kicking in with a Nautilus 88. So one lucky winner in the US will get a Nautilus 88, as you see there, with the desk. And it's really a fantastic combination, which is why we're focusing on combinations for this stream. So I'm going to do a little play on words there. But it's a great studio setup. The desk is really cool. Some of the things you'll notice about them, and Gator Frameworks did a great job of doing this, designing it so that all those cables are just in that nice basket underneath. You've got choices with a lid open or lid down on top of it, so you can make it open for more access to a big panel on a keyboard. Or if you just have a controller, you can close that and have access for a DAW or computer, an iMac, whatever you're using these days. So really, really cool stuff. Going back to my thing here. I did also do a shout out again for Cloud Microphones sent us these great cloud lifters. If you're needing any more headroom on any of your microphones in your studio, then you really got to check out the cloud lifter. Once again, props to David Bryce for helping us out and sending each one of my specialists and myself one of these cloud lifters. It's on the stream right now. We're using it. It's giving us a little extra gain on our microphones, and it's really, really working super well. All you do is plug it in. Phantom Power takes care of the whole thing. Gives you, I think, another plus 20 dB. Eugene, but I saw that arrangers have the wraparound concept that limit the player to not get accompaniment part to go too high or too low. With arpeggiators, we can do that. Yeah, I mean, that's fair. So, with an arrangement, it's kind of like you're playing in the box, but not really so in the box. Like, you can do things with our arrangers, for example, where you don't have to play on just the left hand. You can do full chord scanning. The arrangement is going to play back a certain way. It's going to play back musically the way a band would play. Like, you wouldn't probably ask a guitar player to go up 2 octaves just because the piano is going up 2 octaves, if I can explain it that way. But you'd really want it to be like just focusing on what chords you want to feed it. So what a lot of people do with an arranger is they'll set the split point. I'm going to get out of this frame here. I'm going to go back to here. That's the movie. Sorry. I'm actually changing the frames there by myself, so my bad for any mistakes there. But you've got this split here on an arranger is going to play all your chord stuff down here, and then you can play your solo stuff up here. Or if you want to do, like, let's say, left-handed bass and you want the chords to scan up here, you can do that as well, but it's going to play back the same way. It's just not going to play back at a higher octave because you're playing up high, because that would kind of change the dynamic of the style or the accompaniment. So we call them styles. So that's a true point, but it's actually pretty intentional to make sure that whatever genre you're on, anything, jazz or Latin or whatever you want to play, it's all going to play back. That band is going to play back the way that you would expect it to play back, and then you have further control over the variations. So you can do like intro 1, variation 2, ending, things like that. That's all pre-done. You can do your own. But it gives you the flexibility to play what you're playing as you're playing it, not have to worry about it going along to a linear sequence. A linear sequence is you record every part from start to finish, or you get there in that way. So here's your piano track, here's your bass track, here's your drum track. You couldn't change that sequence just by changing the chords you play. It's going to have to be sort of like re-recorded. So that's where like an arranger has a strength. Conversely, when you want to really dial in and play like very variant parts, or like do your own programming as far as your own songs from start to finish, that's where you might want to look at something like a workstation. And certainly, workstations also work pretty well with any sort of a DAW. You connect it over, USB and audio MIDI. You connect it with, whatever your DAW happens to be, and it ends up being a multi-timbral controller. So you can take those 16 parts of the combination that I'm showing you here, and they're already on 16 different channels. You can send 16 MIDI parts from your DAW, and you can play back those sounds at your heart's content. So there's a lot of options here, a lot of options. Where's my comments? Maybe June line. Nautilus will actually show up. Video remove by user. So yeah, I touched base on this a little earlier. At this point, from the point of this stream on this day, we're looking at about 20 to 30 days to get them into the US market. So if you're in the US, I assume, that's when you're going to start to see them getting into the marketplace. I do want to thank you for your patience there. We're just trying to get these products in, get them going out, and doing the best we can with the shipping and everything else like that that's going on in the world right now. So yes, we are on the cusp of getting these out into the marketplace. So thank you once again. I'm going to just kind of close out with a couple of those sounds, because we did have some requests for some sounds. I'm going to go into the program mode here, and we're going to talk a little bit about these different engines, like we said. So here's the piano engine using the Nautilus Grand, which is a new Grand. O1W. Oh man, that goes back for me. Love O1W. So we're scrolling through our pianos here, and as you can see, there's a lot. So the sounds are in order. As we scroll through, we're going to start to get into things like electric pianos. So here's like an electric piano. I haven't played that one in a while. You can see here on the screen, you're getting things that will actually control that engine. So each screen is different. It's kind of like a plugin. So here you can choose your different effects and everything like that. So I did want to get to the organs for our friend who requested them. This is the Mod 7. This is the FM engine, by the way. And there's one of those sounds that you just know. And love. Yeah, they did a Julius, they did a complete redo of the interface for this. And part of that was because, this is a next generation product, and also because a lot of the stuff has now been put into the screen, because as part of the Nautilus being more streamlined on the control surface, a lot more goes to the screen. So they redid the graphics, they made it very high contrast, those kinds of things. So you're absolutely right. it does look very different and very cool. So here's some of those. And the joystick will do like the speed switch. You can see on the top of the speed there, it goes fast and slow. And you have your drawbars. Touch drag. There's a smooth sound transition. You can go from one sound to another without having to worry about it hiccuping. Do a few more. Yeah, really easy access to drawbars. Lovely. So, horns. We got horns. Woodwind. Breath. Nice stabs. Oh, it's got a little drop off with the switch. And go up or down. You know, another cool thing to show when we're talking about sounds, and one of the things that's newer about the Nautilus is we got these phrases. Phrases are these really nice sample recordings. They play whatever note you're playing. So yes, to confuse things even further, it does sort of work like an arranger in that way. But what we could do here is we can go into, for example, I think the bass, and then you can go into phrases and check this out. Here's 1-6-2-5 split. Choirs and strings. Sure. Why not? Why not? Choirs and strings. So let's see here. Vocal. Airy. Blendy Beer, don't worry. We're going to put the link up throughout the posts here, throughout the comments. And then at the end of it, we're also going to post that link so that you can go and you can enter this wonderfully awesome competition with Gator Frameworks and KORG. So thanks for asking. That was a little like... These are beautiful. I don't know if Trance Euphoria is on here specifically. I think there's a lot of dance downs on here, though, Howard. You definitely want to check that out. Microphone, dynamic would work pretty well, unless, of course, you did want to go with a, let's see, like an external phantom power box. That would work as well. And you could use really anything that you like. It's just about adapting it so that it could work. No, these don't have phantom power on their own. So, yeah. Male, female humming. Do some strings to close it out. Luscious strings. Sure. Lots. We're going to be about that time. So I am going to say thank you very much for joining us today. I'm glad that we got to spend this time once again going through the Nautilus and looking at the combination mode and then checking out some sounds as per your request. And thank you very much for those suggestions. And then again, reminding everyone, if you've just joined us, that we got this great contest going on with Gator Frameworks. Frameworks is their new division of studio furniture, and they've got this Elite series. And we're going to be doing a giveaway with them. It's going to be a giveaway of a Nautilus with that. So it's going to be looking a little bit something like that, which is really, really cool. So we're going to be taking, go to the site. We got the links up there, and you can go and you can enter to win, enter for your chance. They're going to be taking entries until May 19th. And then after that, the winner will be decided. And thank you very much, Julius. Appreciate that. Hope you'll all join in that, that contest and get your chance at winning your very own desk and Nautilus. So very cool. Once again, I'm James with KORG, and I would like very much to thank you for joining us here today. We'll see you again for a live stream very soon. Some AMAs on Instagram as well, always a precursor to the streams. We do some questions and answers on the stream that's upcoming on every other Monday. Yeah, just really thank you for joining us on this rainy day here in New York. I don't know if you heard any thunder. This microphone's pretty sensitive, but it's been banging all day out there. And I just got to say that hanging out with you has definitely brightened up my day. So thank you again, and we will see you again soon. Peace. Stay safe.